The mission of Guyana Water Incorporated, GWI, is to deliver safe, adequate, and affordable water to citizens across Guyana, and to ensure safe sewerage systems for improved public health and sustainable economic development. More than 90 years ago, 3 villages along the Demerara River, Wismar, Mackenzie, and Christianburg, formed a commercial bauxite mining community. In 1970, the 3 villages were unified as a township and named Linden. Linden is the second largest town in Guyana, after the capital, Georgetown. Linden is located approximately 75 miles from the capital by way of the Demerara River and 67 miles by road. The supply of potable water in this town has its origin somewhere in the early 1950s. At that time, a pure water plant was set up at Mackenzie. A few years later, a second water plant was installed to provide pure water to the residents of Wismar. As the township grew and expanded, periodic works were conducted in efforts to ensure a reliable and adequate supply of water to the residents. Currently, the existing water supply system consists of 5 treatment plants and a huge network of distribution lines. But the Linden population continues to grow, and the housing sector is booming. As can be expected, the water sector is once again unable to adequately service the demand.
Of course, over time, what has happened is that Linden has grown. Within the last 10-15 years, Linden has grown by somewhere in excess of about, in terms of housing space, somewhere in excess of about 2,000 acres. And for that expansion requires considerable amount of infrastructure in terms of water, electricity, and so on, meaning the poles and so on. So over time, what has happened is that the quality of the water and the frequency and the adequacy of water coming through the system has been challenged by GWI, and we can understand that. But of course, residents are to some extent not going to be very accommodating in those circumstances because of what they had expected or what they were accustomed to in the past.
This increased demand for water, coupled with the deterioration of the existing distribution network due to age, has compounded the problem. The Linden water sector is in trouble.
Yeah, when I can't get the transportation in a timely manner to bring the water, I fetch my own water because I gotta get my work done.
We got a lot of constructions be going on. We need water, okay? I mean, the one you...
This come with good pressure, but the thing is the water, you can't consume the water. You have to, not only for washways and like, wash clothes and everything.
Honestly, we did from the part there, we honestly go and buy water. And it's like $3,000 tank. Come on, you know?
After coming home from work in the night, I have to wake up early in the morning and come and fetch my own water because there isn't any.
Actually, the water system is very poor. In the morning, if you don't wash by 9:30, the water gone. And it would come back like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Then last a couple of hours, then it's gone. And the condition of the water too, it's horrible. I got to fold the water in the night, leave it to settle, then to wash in the morning.
No, we have to, they put in a system now that you have to pay water bill. You understand? So, yeah, you paying and you're not getting the water. Tough.
Tell me
because right now we
getting
getting water. Sometimes when you do get the water, it's dirty. You share obstacles?
It's still muck coming out. One time it's clear, one time it's muck coming out. Can't drink it on the pipe. You gotta buy water all the time for drink.
Pay like bill, pay water bill, what's not, you know what I mean? You're paying and still you ain't getting no sort of proper water. You have a little chance to drink water, go to school, bathe, all them things, water, not nowhere, you know what I mean?
And what has happened with the infrastructure concerning water, that has not reciprocally grown with the population and with its expansion. As such, what has happened is that there has been several levels of deterioration based on the various water treatment plants. Some are still better than some, but those especially that were constructed earlier, like in the 1950s and the 1960s, has really deteriorated. And as such, what has happened over the years is that the capacity to supply water to all the residents of Linden on a 24-hour basis has not been possible. So what has happened over the years is that for some residents, we've had to actually ration water. Some residents, especially in Blueberry Hill, has been receiving water just for primarily just for 12 hours, but also in the evening. They have been sharing water with the 1 mile, half-mile area. Now that has raised a high level of inadequacy in terms of actually supplying all the customers with the necessary volume of water that is required.
These problems did not occur overnight, and in anticipation of the looming collapse of the existing infrastructure, feasibility studies were conducted. Consultations were held with the communities and stakeholders in the town. There was an urgent need to determine the way forward for the water sector in Linden.
Therefore, it is important that whatever systems we need to put in place, that those systems are taking the citizens on board, and at the same time utilizing the advice and information that will be coming from the citizens so that they can be the ones buying into the project, because we need them to buy into the project, because no sense we put a project in place and then they're not buying into it, and therefore as far as the activities are going, they're not seeing that as part of their livelihood, and therefore at the end of the day all they're interested in is to have the water, and these days we got to understand that there's no free lunch. We've come to that point some time ago, and therefore if water is going to be produced, obviously energy has to be used for the water to be produced, and therefore a cost has to be attached.
I appreciate the consultation or the consultative approach taken by GWI in this very important program. I know that from the delivery of service, or the improved quality for the delivery of service, the environmental consideration, these two treatment centers will be placed at some very strategic location.
Based on the recommendations of a master plan consultancy, the Linden Water Supply Rehabilitation Program, LWSRP, was developed. The Linden Water Supply Rehabilitation Program is designed to confront the Linden water woes at various levels, with the aim of improving quality, providing increased supply, and ensuring cost efficiency.
We have three major civil components: the construction of mains, that is water pipelines, on the east of Linden, and then on Mackenzie there's also construction of pipelines. The third component involves construction of several treatment plants. So if we were to go back to the first component, we have on the eastern side approximately 20 km of transmission mains, where we'll be replacing some mains. We'll also be adding mains. And if we go over to the western side, West Rock, we have approximately 9.2 km of mains, where we will be doing also both construction and rehabilitation of the existing mains. Most of the works are actually actually involves the treatment plants in terms of costs and what have you, and where there will be two, one in Rizrock and one in Emilia's ward. There are also provision for ground storage, both in Rizrock and Emilia's wards, large ground storage facilities, which of course will be where the water is stored. We also have cases of elevated structures, and all these will add to the whole idea of having an increased hours of water supply, and in some cases the aim is 24 hours. So because of the ground storage facilities, we have the water there, we also have it at a certain height. We're expected to increase the pressure and give the people of Linden a much improved service, so to speak. There are also booster stations that are also involved, also the rehabilitation of wells in this program.
It is a project which is long overdue in a sense, and therefore coming to the fore means that it's something that residents have been looking out for some time now. As I mentioned, we have tremendous expansion in the community in terms of Blueberry Hill. There's Block 22, there is extension in Rizrock, and also you have in the Emilia's ward area as well as Pipeline and all those other areas. And these areas require important commodities such as water, and therefore it's a necessity. And the fact that the project is going to be able to, this is based on what has been presented, is going to be able to supply those needs, and at the same time supply the needs in a timely fashion and on a continuous basis.
While the need for major works in the Linden water sector is pressing, and the crucial areas of concern were identified, the cost of undertaking such a mammoth task was a major consideration. The works identified by the Master Plan Consultancy and the full execution of the LWSRP would cost a whopping $12 million.
The Linden Water Program is part of government overall objective of not only making water accessible to the population, but also moving towards a higher percentage of our population having access to treated water. As you're aware, the treatment plants in Linden have far exceeded their lifespan, and as such it became necessary for us to rehabilitate, extend and improve the entire water distribution system for Linden. An investment of more than $12 million or more than 2 billion Guyana dollars is one that is made at significant sacrifice of other programs within the country. This project would bring 100% treated water to the people of Linden. And as you know, there is also corresponding growth in the housing sector in Linden. This growth would have necessitated the expansion of water networks and also source of water. That is why we had to develop a new well that cost us in excess of $90 million at Emilia's ward, and that is to take care of the growth and expansion that is occurring in the Emilia's ward area.
Given the $12 million price tag on the Linden Water Supply Rehabilitation Program, the government of Guyana sought financial assistance from the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB. Since 1976, the IDB has been working in partnership with Guyana to help the country build a stable economy on a foundation of strong infrastructure and efficient institutions. The IDB support for reducing poverty includes boosting the effectiveness of social sector spending and services, reducing malnutrition, expanding housing opportunities, and improving water and sanitation.
The IDB would have worked closely with the government of Guyana and the GWI in consultation with the community of Linden and other stakeholders with regards to this project. Now, some criteria were used in developing this project, and one of the main criteria was that this project had to be financially feasible. And so there was a main cost-benefit analysis that was done, and this was done by a consultant, which was engaged through the IDB, and the analysis shows that the project is financially feasible. In addition, the consultant did an environmental assessment. They identify all the major risks associated with the project, and these risks could include environmental risk, they could include social risk, they could include threats to the communities, and all of these risks have been identified, and there are mitigation plan that have been developed. Now, the contractors would now have to ensure that they have safety plans and mitigation measures in place to deal with these risks, and these are all part of the project.
The government of Guyana has also provided counterpart funding to the tune of $300,000 US. The implementation of an extensive metering program funded by the Guyana government is also on the cards.
In addition to the counterpart contribution that I mentioned, the $300,000 that the government is providing towards this program, the government is also providing distribution support towards the distribution system upgrade, which includes metering and upgrade of service connection, and the target is in excess of 4,500 meters to be installed over the next 4 years. Now, I would like to mention one point which has to do with metering, and there's a public perception that metering will automatically result in the increase of your monthly tariff. But I must assure the public that metering is not intended to increase your tariff, but metering is intended to help GWI to reduce our non-revenue water, because presently in Linden our non-revenue water is in excess of 60%. So I'm saying 60% of the water that we provide goes to waste. So with metering will help us to conserve, and at least we are targeting right presently to move to 50%. And so with metering, it will help us to control the amount of water that is utilized in not only Linden but around the country.
With a simple signing ceremony, the LWSRP was set in motion. The hope for a more energy-efficient operation was on the horizon. The Linden Water Sector Rehabilitation Program was set to be implemented over a 5-year span. Strategic and systematic improvements in the water sector will result in the residents of Linden enjoying an improved quality of service, better water pressure, improved quality of potable water, and a definite increase in water supply. The Linden Water Supply Rehabilitation Program is moving ahead at a steady pace and should be completed by the end of 2015. It must be noted that infrastructural development of this nature also signals major financial benefits for the Linden community.
So this investment is going to bring, as I said, 100% treated water to the homes of the people of Linden. It also is going to create tremendous employment during the project construction phase, which brings a lot of economic benefit to the people of Linden. It is also going to be one of the most modern water operation network in terms of the technology that is utilized. And the technology is basically to reduce the energy cost and the consumption of energy. And energy, as you know, accounts for 65% of the operation costs. And once this project is implemented in the way it has been designed, you will see a corresponding reduction in the energy costs as compared to what exists now. It also seeks to utilize more of the geographic and topographic characteristics of Linden, so that you can have a lot more gravity flow. And this, of course, would bring tremendous benefit in terms of cost, efficiency, and reliability of the system.
We appreciate this investment, and infrastructure investment goes a long way because it allows for further development. So I can only see this as being part of the major development for Linden and Region 10.
Having a new and improved water system signals advancement for Linden. But the comforts that will now be enjoyed demands a greater level of responsibility on the part of the consumer. Every man, every woman, every child now has the responsibility of conserving this precious resource. All must resolve to avoid wastage, to practice proper hygiene and sanitation habits, and to safeguard household water supplies from contamination.
For us to get potable water, it comes at a cost. And we cannot afford to waste water. We cannot afford, like the days of old, to turn your tap on, you're gonna speak to the neighbor and the water's running and you have, no care. We have to change that attitude. While some persons have changed, there's still need for that. So I would want to appeal to the people of Linden that we use water wisely. The other thing, I don't know if GWI has considered businesses we have, like the wash bays, not having them have access to that potable water, but make another source available because they have to do their job. Probably have some way where they can access water from the river directly and to have this set up, because if they use the potable water, that will really impact negatively on GWI. So I want to appeal to our children, because many times they might be home unsupervised and they will turn the taps on, play with the water and all that. Change that attitude. Use water wisely.
Water is not infinite. That's one. And two, water has a high economic and social cost. Whilst we have a heavily subsidized water system, where the government subsidized water rate by almost 65 to 70%. Now, if you were to add the true value of water, then your bill or the rate that you pay would have been 65 to 70% more than you pay today. And as a result of that, people sometimes lose focus in understanding and appreciating the social and economic value of water. So conservation is a major issue. It's something that we have to educate the consumers about.